So, Nando V Movies has issued a video challenge and wants people to talk about villains, does he? Well, it took me a while to settle on one that really got me inspired to talk about things like this. Like, at first I thought about Sivana entering the boardroom to exact his revenge on his dad and Shazam, and then the Dragon Grigori greeting the player before their big fight in Dragon's Dogma. But then I thought about my favourite superhero of all time and felt that I couldn't not talk about the arch-nemesis of the Man of Steel, Lex Luthor. I'm Articulate T, and this is my one villainous scene. Born in Smallville and living under an abusive father, Lex is a self-made billionaire with genius-level intellect. He runs LexCorp, one of the biggest conglomerates in the world. In previous iterations, he was just a straight-up supervillain, while in others, he did villainous things but gets away with it because of money and good PR. In others, he's a good guy, but the way he does things is kind of dancing on that moral line. Hell, he even became president once, in a time when that seemed unrealistic, almost. Lex, as a billionaire CEO, however, is, in my opinion, the perfect bad guy for Superman, even if he has no powers, because he's a clearly bad person who gets away with it entirely because he's so wealthy and charismatic. He's an evil who can't be punished because of how society works, especially in the West, and even more so, an evil who thrives because of that system, a challenge to Superman's moral compass in a sense.
I don't make deals with criminals.
I control everything in this town, Superman. Your cooperation is not really necessary. The offer was merely a courtesy.
You can't punch late-stage capitalism, sadly. Lex, in turn, has his own hatred towards Superman, because in his eyes, Superman isn't human, but is loved by humans, getting the appreciation that should be owed to Lex. He's this alien god who turned up and did some nice things, while Lex built an empire from the ground up, and yet Lex is the one who's overlooked. Superman has all this power, but remains humble and kind. Clearly, Lex thinks, this is a lie. Clearly the world needs to be saved from Superman because he can't imagine anyone with that much power not being evil, not being corrupt and arrogant, chiefly because he would be, because he is.
That sanctimonious image of yours fooled everyone, except me! Because I know evil!
I think this is kind of summed up in Grant Morrison's award-winning story All-Star Superman, especially the finale, which is the scene we'll be talking about today. While Morrison tends to focus on Golden Age-style stories with the Man of Steel, so their version of Lex Luthor will probably be more akin to the straight-up supervillain type of Lex Luthor, this kind of scene is a very good way to cap off Lex's relationship with Superman. It just feels like the natural end to the two's rivalry. To recap! Superman saves a group of scientists who pulled an Icarus while studying the sun, and in the process, Superman himself takes in too much solar radiation, so while he's more powerful than he's ever been before, he's also slowly dying. As such, he goes through the process of getting his affairs in order and dealing with a number of threats and scenarios that come his way. One of those things, towards the latter half of the movie, is visiting Lex in prison, and it's this short exchange where we get our key reminder that Lex really hates Superman.
You win, Luthor. I'm dying. All the things you said you would have done to benefit humanity if I hadn't been in your way, now's the time to prove it. Lex, I know there's good in you.
This scene plays out really well in order to convey that sheer, unadulterated loathing that Lex has for the Kryptonian. Just, there's no long, glorious speech about how he's won. There's no diatribe about how it's still unfair that he's on death row. There's none of that. It's just silence and spit. Lex is also kind of at the end of his own story as he now waits on death row, having been caught for a series of crimes, and this time, well, the charges really stuck. But he still absolutely despises Superman. In fact, it's this hatred that allows him to keep on going, keep on developing new skills and bettering himself, at least in the physical sense. He's learning how to mix the perfect cocktail. He's also doing as much exercise as possible, working on new scientific experiments, because he finds that hard work to be of value as a human being. It's kind of established a bit more when Superman, as Clark Kent, goes to interview Lex, and he throws a few backhanded compliments Clark's way, because while he sees Clark as being many rungs below him on the ladder, he still sees Clark as human, something that he can't see Superman as.
Why haven't you filed an appeal?
But with him around, you're a parody of a man. A dullard. A cripple. Next to Superman, even Lex Luthor's greatness is overshadowed.
I've always liked you, Kent. You're humble, modest, comically uncoordinated, human. In short, you're everything he's not.
This all culminates in the scene that we're going to be talking about today. Lex later breaks out of jail and uses a super formula that Superman had previously used to let Lois Lane have his powers for a day, and uses that to beat up Superman and take over the world, blocking out the sun briefly to make sure Superman cannot fight at full strength. Superman fights him while using a gravity gun from the Fortress of Solitude, but it's clear that Lex has the upper hand, while Superman enters the final stages of his illness. Seemingly victorious, Lex drags the beaten Superman before a gathered crowd, telling them that if they surrendered, they'll be spared, that he's moving into the White House later today. The way he does this is also quite important to conveying who Lex Luthor is. He walks in the air and never touches the ground, just to emphasize how above everyone else he is. And the way he speaks and conveys it is just as a calm, simple tone, as if it's just a known fact that he has already won. It's just like stating the sky is blue. He has beaten Superman. And then he stops, as he indulges in one of Superman's powers to see the world in a different way.
Are you okay?
Better than okay. I can see the entire electromagnetic spectrum. And those must be atoms. Little clouds of possibility.
Lex's scientific mind suddenly connects with this, and in one intense moment, he suddenly sees everything as it is, down to its smallest, fundamental particle, having a revelation that few humans, if any, are able to make with his mindset. It completely changes his outlook on things. He's no longer speaking in simple terms and being calm. He's excited, almost forgetting that other people are there while he's having this revelation. It's also where Lex suddenly realizes why Superman had fought him the way he did, and perhaps what Superman's deal is. In his perspective at this moment, there is no greater power, there is no complex meaning to it all. In the grand scheme of things, everything is connected by consciousness.
The mechanistic clockwork of reality hinging on a precious, impossible defiance of entropy, on life. And the clockwork doesn't care. It's like it's all just us in here together. We're all we've got. Gravity warps time. Superman trapped me in a relativistic conundrum.
He's trying to say his 24 hours of superpowers just ran out.
He realizes that Superman has known this forever. It's how he sees it, all the time. And Superman has seen that the grand clockwork of the universe marches on without caring about the living creatures within it. But despite that, Superman had elected to be a good person anyway. The final part of this villainous breakdown comes when Superman takes the spare serum Lex had and destroys it, Lex despairing that with it, he could make everyone see and understand what they both now know, to save the world from itself, only to be called out for his egotism.
If it wasn't for you, I could have saved the world.
If it had mattered to you, Luthor, you could have saved the world years ago.
You're right.
Lex here is well and truly broken, a repentant man who realizes that it was his own obsessive hatred of Superman that was not only responsible for his downfall, but for the damage he had inflicted on the world. He could have done good things in spite of Superman. He could have done it before Superman put on the cape. He could have saved the world at any point. But it wasn't what mattered to him. Were it not for this revelation, Lex likely wouldn't have done anything to better the world despite his objections, as all he wanted was the credit, to sit at the top of the ladder. It wasn't Superman that was the menace, it was him. I love this particular scene. While I might not view Morrison as the best writer for Superman, I know, heresy, I can certainly say that if there were any real way for Lex and Superman to finish their rivalry, to cap it all off, it would have been this. Thank you for watching. I'm tempted to do another one of these about a scene from Justice League Unlimited, but we'll see about that. I have a lot of ideas for video essays, and hopefully this will encourage me to actually act upon them instead of keeping them in my head. This video was made as part of the Nando V Movies One Villainous Scene collab, and you can check out the other videos in the playlist by clicking on the link in the description or in the end card here. Also, if you like Zelda and D&D, possibly together, I run a Zelda D&D campaign, so feel free to check that out too if you want to. Anyway, I think I've taken up enough of your time. Have a good one.